Hi, my name's David Parker, and I'm the owner and founder of Visio, which is an independent Visio consultancy founded in 1998. And I've been an MVP for Microsoft Visio for the last 15 years, and I'd like to reveal some of the smartness in Visio to you. In my Visio consultancy work, I often have to explain what makes Visio shapes smart, what is a Visio document, why does it behave like it does. So I thought I'd do a series of short videos just to explain what this is. When you open up the Visio Desktop Edition, you do get presented with a choice of a number of different templates. But all those templates are particular page scale, page size, orientation, with a number of usually stencils docked on the left-hand side. But I'm going to take this from the beginning now and just go in to create a blank diagram for you so you can see what is involved in a Visio document. So what we can see over here is that there are no shapes on the left-hand side at the moment. I've got the ruler on and I've got a grid showing here, rather like some graph paper. I've also not got the developer tab on, which I now want to show you how simply to open the developer tab to expose a bit more of the richness that's inside the Visio interface. So I've got a right mouse click within this grey area at the top here and choose customize the ribbon. We're going to customize the ribbon. I'm going to go down to the developer tab and switch this on. And then you should see developer tab appear here, as you can see at the top there. Now, one of the cool things about this developer tab is this drawing explorer. So I'm going to open up this drawing explorer there, and we can see that it's giving me automatically a exploration in a tree view of what's involved in this document. We've got a number of foreground pages, just one, and there are no shapes in there. We've got no background pages. There are some default styles, but there are no masters. So I mentioned that normally what you get when you open up one of the templates is that there are a number of stencils open on the left-hand side. So let's open up one. Let's go to, the flowchart here and go down to the basic flowchart shapes. So what happens when I bring in that basic flowchart shape here? We see that we've now got a stencil on the left-hand side. If we look across on the right-hand side, we still don't have any masters in this document because we haven't actually placed anything on the page. So I am going to take the process shape from here and I'm going to drag and drop it onto the page, more rather like you do if you're creating a diagram. And what actually happened, you may see over on the right-hand side, is that now I've got a master here called process, and under the shapes branch I've got a process shape there. So what's going to happen if I drag down another copy of the process shape? If I drag and drop that down here and onto the page, I get no more masters, but I do get a process.2. So this shapes collection, as it's called here, it has each of the shapes that are in it need to have a unique name. So the first one was called process because it was an instance of the process master. But the second one can't be called process because there's already one called process. So Visio appends an index to it, which is really the index of the shape that is at the time of dropping. So that is now the process.2. I can go and check on this later on if I wanted to by going into the shape name. Now I've got the developer tab open and we see there that we've got the name is process.2, but the ID is 2. You can actually edit the name of a shape if you wanted to, and you could give it whatever name you wanted to, almost whatever you want here. Let's say it's my second process if you wanted, right? Now that doesn't change the fact that that is an instance of that process master. It's just a new name for it. All right, and if I drag down another shape from here onto the page, again, I've got process.3 there. All right, 1, 2, 3. Now these are just simple shapes, which means that they don't have any subshapes within them. I can tell that because over on the tree view over here on the right-hand side, if I expand all these, it's only got a layers branch underneath it. It doesn't have another shapes branch underneath there and subshapes in there. If that master had multiple shapes inside of it when I dropped it, then the second shape would not have been process.2 because Visio would have counted all of the shapes that's in there and it would have been the next number in the series. So if that had had 3 subshapes in it, then that would have been 1, 2, 3, 4 would have been used up by the first shape. This would have been process.5. That's my prediction, and that is actually how it does work. So now what happens is I've got 3 instances of the process shape. So what could I do with that? Well, you can see that I've only got 1 process shape here. And if I was to open up on the more shapes on the left-hand side here and show document stencil here, we can see that there is a single process master. Now that I've got this, because these are actually instances of that master and not the ones on the basic flowchart shape, then you could begin your customization if you so wanted. So what if I was to open this process shape here, the master, by double clicking it, and I'll do something simple like change its color to fill like this. And it now says update the process and all of its instances, yes. And you see they're all updated. So what happens then if I go back to this the basic flowchart shape stencil, and I drag out a process shape and drop it down? What do you think will happen? Well, I'll let go and you'll see. Oh dear. It's not using my custom master. It's actually created me a process.5, which is not good news. So I'm just going to undo that and show you how you can get around that problem. So I've just done a Control Z, and now I'm going to go back to my document stencil. And on my document stencil, when I go on the right mouse click on it, I do Edit Master, Master Properties, and I'm going to switch on Match Master by Name on Drop. Now what happens is when I go to this basic flowchart shape here and drag in the process shape from that stencil, which somebody may well do, it's going to use my version of it and not the create me a duplicate master, which makes any updates a little bit difficult. What would happen if you had done it wrong? Well, there is a way around that. And I'm going to now undo that. And I'm going to go back to here and check that my process shape is unchecked, as you can see there. So going back now to the state where I don't think it's good, really, and I drag in this one, and I've realized I've created myself a shape here with a duplicate master. Okay, so I need to go and repair that. I'll just go and verify by looking at the shape name here on the developer tab, and we can see here that it says master is process.6. So I want to get that back to being the other master, right? What you don't want to do is go to your document stencil and say, oh, well, I didn't mean that. And let's go and delete that shape. It will say masters to be deleted or linked to shape or objects on the drawing page. It will break the link. So I don't really want to do that because I want them to belong to the first master and not this erroneous second master. So what I need to do is to go to my Home tab and go select shape and then go and select my first one. It's now an instance of the first one, and now I can go and clean up and get rid of that. So we've now got 4 shapes which are instances of the single master, which I can go into this and I could go and edit this now, and let's choose a different color. And we'll save it. And we see the all turn green. So the world is good again. We've got all these instances, which are instances of a single master. Why is that good? Well, for one, it does make updates a lot easier. For 2, it means you don't have any complications because you've got some behaviors not happening in the way you designed them to behave. And before I forget, I should go and change this edit master here property, because I left it unticked, and go and tick it. And another thing is that there is a saving in drawing file size. Okay, now I'm going to show you one of the other little gems of Visio and where it gets all of this smartness from. So if I now go and look at this shape here, because I've got that developer tab switched on, I get this extra option here to do show shapesheet. If I do show shapesheet, it opens up the shapesheet or the smartness that's behind it, and you can see that this is just a number of cells in different sections. It was modeled on something like Lotus 123 or an early Excel worksheet. You can put in formulas into these cells, and there's a whole language right there is within Excel for making these formulas work. Now you can see in this particular case that some of these rows are showing up black and some are showing blue. It's only the blue which is stored locally with that shape. All of the black is being inherited from the master there on that local document stencil. So Visio does not have to store much regarding this because it's only got pin X and pin Y there, and there's nothing else in there. Right? Oh, there's a layer membership, but that's because layers are done in a particular complex way within Visio, which we'll go into in a further video. So let's prove how we can use this smartness. And I'm going to modify this instance of this shape. I'm going to show you something here which you may not have seen before. If I go down to the fill format section here, this is showing me all of the formulas for the color of that fill there. In this one in particular, because this is an RGB, the red, green and blue, you can see is that there. So that formula there just means protect me from the themes. I want it to be that particular shade of green. I could easily put in a formula here, and just to show you how good this is, I'm just going to, there you saw I've got IntelliSense, and now that I've put that formula width into the fill foreground, what do you think is going to happen when I change this size of the shape? So the width is actually changing the color. Just a little example of the power of the shapesheet formulas in Visio. If you'd like to learn more about integrating data with Visio, then please follow these links to go and get my book about visualizing data with Visio 2016 and 19 and Visio Online Plan 2. I've also got a white paper about linking Visio with Power BI. Thank you for watching this video, and I hope you'll watch my next one soon.